weather in our turn. Wet weather chances are on the rise across the entire state. So as we're finishing off the weekend, some showers or thunderstorms in the forecast. Partly cloudy and Tupelo through the early morning, low at 50. Looking pretty good Saturday, sunny to high mid-70s. Scattered showers Saturday night, more rainy weather likely Sunday. Dry on Vicksburg through the night to the upper 50s. A few showers Saturday afternoon with more showers with thunderstorms too as we're heading through Saturday night and for Sunday. Pascagoula dry through the night on Saturday too, we're high near 80. Slight chance for rain Saturday night, more rainy weather starting to cross in on Sunday. Over the year, just Jennifer Moore. This is Fair Radio.
Under the lights, we have a guest in tonight with us. And George, as always, Russ is on the road, so I'll let you introduce our guest as we begin the broadcast.
Well, a good friend of ours and a good friend of the program, Dr. Reed Vance from Mississippi College. Former broadcaster for, well, I guess it's still a current broadcaster for the Choctaws. And Warren Central Vikings and a lot of other places.
A lot of other places. A lot of other places now.
And actually, Reed, I think you were here for week one.
I was here for week one.
Right.
That's right.
So
I've come to, by the way, if I'm a friend of the program, does that mean I have to donate something? Because that's not going to.
Well, you're donating your time.
Okay, there you go. I just want to make that clear. No, I think I'm turning into the Jay Leno of this show.
Yeah, well,
5 or 6 weeks you come in and.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. But, you know, Russ was on the road tonight, I think, to Silliman Institute.
Yes,
of all
long
places,
ways away.
A long way away, so he was not able to be with us tonight. And, you know, looking at the scores, there's some upsets tonight.
There are.
Yeah, and there's some games of interest that we'll be talking about through the night. And you know, just kind of goes across the board, but there's a lot of interesting scores for sure.
Well, this is the time of the year where everybody's in region play. I would assume everybody's in region play.
Oh yeah,
pretty much. And now you're really at the time of the year where some schools, I think probably tonight, have even got locked up playoff spots. They're on the verge of locking up playoff spots because it's right around the corner now.
Right, either locking them up or being eliminated.
Yes.
So it's getting kind of to that point in time of the season. Why don't we go ahead and just throw out a few scores? Okay. Let's see. One of interest off the top of my head here, Gulfport shut out Biloxi tonight. Gulfport at home winning 35-0. Another game of interest, and we may talk about this a little bit through the evening, Brandon had a tough road game in Oak Grove tonight, and the score we have is Oak Grove won that game 20-7. Of course, Lance Pogue kind of stepped down during the week as both athletic director and coach at Brandon. Kind of an unusual situation.
George, I was thinking about this. I can't remember, and clearly my memory is fading by the day, but I can't remember a separation like this happening in the middle of the season.
In the middle of the season, yeah.
In the middle of the season.
You know, the thing about it is, you know, football, well, sports in general are just, they've changed so much in just the last 5, 6, 7 years. And you see it on the college level. I mean, you saw coaches being terminated after, 3, 4 games.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you just, it's kind of cascaded from there. But you really don't ever see that at the high school.
No, and that's the first thing I thought of when I saw when I saw this news was, I hope what is happening at the college level is not going to, in terms of what you're talking about,
right,
is not going to trickle down to the high school level. Again, who knows? We only saw what they put out about the situation, and I hate it for the kids in the program because I know they're having a tough year, and it's continued tonight.
Yeah, obviously. Let me give you a few more scores. Calhoun City shut out Bartleman 54-0. Winona over Choctaw County by the score of 24-21. It was Columbia. Columbia remains undefeated. They defeated South Pike 49-36. Pretty good ball game there. Lafayette defeated Columbus 27-14. Port Gibson shut out Crystal Springs. Now, Crystal Springs has not won a game, and to be honest with you, they just haven't been in any game this year. But Port Gibson won that 54-0 tonight. DeSoto Central defeated South Haven 28-21. Nanawaya over Ethel 40-16. Forest defeated Richland by the score of 41-3. Hattiesburg won tonight, sixth game of the year. They defeated George County 42-21. Greene County over Moss Point 35-6 was the final there. Let me see, give me a few more. Holmes County Central shut out Provine tonight 42-0. Tupelo got their eighth win of the year. They defeated a pretty good Horn Lake team 38-13 tonight. That game was at Tupelo. Now, this is Russ's game, Jackson Prep. No trouble with Silliman Institute winning 52-6 was the final there. Prep's now 6-4. Terry, who's having a very good season, Terry in 6A is now 7-1. They defeated Jim Hill tonight 55-6. Kosciuszko, who's also having a great season, beat Yazoo City, shut them out 46-0. It was Kossuth over Mantachi 47-7. Laurel had a shutout win over North Pike by the score of 39-0. Now we're going to have a couple of guys join us possibly later on tonight from the Tri-County and Leak game. This game was at Tri-County, and one of the probably better games in MAIS tonight. Both teams 7-1 coming in. The score I have is that Tri-County defeated Leak 52-18.
That's what I have as well.
So might have expected that one to be a little more competitive than that, but apparently Tri-County had a good night, winning 52-18. Lake Central over Newton County 25-22. Let's see, moving on. Now, this is a game we need to talk about a little bit. Germantown and Madison Central. That game was played at Germantown. Both teams 4-3. And the score we have is that Germantown won by 4, 21-17.
21-17, that's the score that I had as well. And it's a big game for both those teams, especially for, I think, probably seeding implications in the playoffs.
Yeah, and, Germantown had a tough loss last Friday night. They lost to Oxford. I believe that game was in overtime. They lost to Oxford. And so anyway, they got back on the winning track. And of course, nowadays, Madison Central and Germantown, that's a big rivalry. Just a few miles apart.
Yep.
Big schools, and Germantown won that game tonight. Ocean Springs won their seventh win of the year. They defeated West Harrison 55-21. A game that we may get a report on here in just a few minutes. Oxford, who was quarterbacked by Knox Kiffin, and apparently Knox must have had a pretty good ball game because Oxford beat Clinton tonight 33-23.
So already threw two touchdowns.
Yeah, he's a 10th grader. And, the pictures I remember of him was just, he was a little boy. Apparently he's grown up a little bit.
I would say so.
Anyway, the Era's 4-4. I mean, they're in games, but they just don't have quite enough to win against some of these really good teams. But hopefully we'll be talking. Now, this may be the game, they're coming up here, this may be the game of the night. The score we have, Pearl and Petal. Petal has been really just outstanding all, most of the season. They got off to a little bit of a slow start, but they've really won some big games. But apparently Pearl goes to Petal and wins 21-14. That's a surprise.
Yeah, it is. As you mentioned, Pearl's kind of struggled this year.
Pearl's struggled for the last couple of years, and they were 2-5 going into this game, but that's the report we have is that Pearl won 21-14. So hopefully we'll get a report on that one a little bit later. Let's see. Let me give you a couple of more scores. Lake Cormorant defeated Saltillo 41-7. Raleigh over Seminary 27-21. Summerall beat Natchez 33-18. Cleveland Central defeated Vicksburg 34-10. Warren Central got a win over Neshoba Central, 42-13. Now, you know a lot about the Vikings. They didn't get off to the best start in the world, but they're now 6-2, and apparently have kind of come around.
Well, that's kind of been the pattern the last several years. You know, they play a very tough non-region schedule, and then they get into region play, which I think that region's probably a little better this year. But
Yeah.
Nash Morgan, the no longer young quarterback, is, if I'm not mistaken, maybe think we'll talk to Brandon Davis later on tonight, and now the all-time leading touchdown passer at Warren Central. I think that's the case.
Wow.
We'll double check on that.
That's good.
Will the Thrill is on, and so is Ty Boyles.
Well,
So let's go to Will the Thrill. He
all
was
right.
first.
Okay.
Will, good evening. How are you?
Tired. It's been a long day, but it is what it is. I felt like I was at a Florida State Ole Miss game tonight. And that tomahawk chop that South Jones band played, they played it all night long.
Well, tell us about the game.
Brookhaven wins 42-29 on homecoming night. Defense set the tone early. Don't have players' names because I didn't have a roster, but Brookhaven actually jumped out to a 19-0 lead with about a minute left in the first quarter. Don't know what happened I do know what happened in the second quarter. South Jones roared back and scored 16 straight points, but Brookhaven took the halftime lead at 19-16. After that, Brookhaven came out second half. They put a couple of touchdowns on the board quick, and before you know it, 42-29 was your final. Couple of stalwarts in the game. Jeremy Bills for Brookhaven, and if that name sounds familiar to a lot of people, he is the son of former Northwest ranking great Jeremy Bills. So, little bloodline there. Also, Jimmy Johns, former Brookhaven High quarterback from the state championship game, was in attendance as well. It was a happy homecoming all around for Old Brook tonight.
All right, so South Jones 42, Brookhaven 29. That's what you're telling us.
No,
Is
the
that
other way around.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The other
My
way
bad.
around.
I just wrote it down wrong. My bad.
All right, Brookhaven.
Okay, and
Yeah, go
I
ahead,
can
Will.
also confirm the report about the Pearl Pedal game from a good friend of mine who was actually at that game, and that score that you gave was correct. Pearl did win. I just don't remember what the final was.
Yeah, it was,
21-14.
21-14.
Okay. One last thing.
Go ahead, Will.
I'm sorry. One last thing. With the win by Brookhaven tonight, I'm looking at the Region 3 5A standings on my spreadsheet. That puts Brookhaven at 3-0 in the region with games against North Pike and Natchez left. If Brookhaven wins one of the two, then Brookhaven would lock up the Region 3 5A berth. With the loss by South Jones, they are now in a tie with Sumrall at 1-2 in the region. So that's kind of how the region picture looks at this point. So Brookhaven moves to 6-2 overall, 3-0 in the region.
All right. Good deal. Hey, thanks so much for
Thanks,
calling us
Will.
tonight.
All right.
Good night.
Safe travels to Russ wherever he is.
Somewhere in the dark of Louisiana. is where he
Somewhere
is
in the
probably,
dark.
yes.
Thanks a lot, Will. We appreciate your call.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
You too.
Let's slip in Ty Boyles
All right.
before the break. Here's Ty.
Ty, it sounds like the Crystal Springs Tigers took another one on the chin tonight.
Yeah, we did. 54-0.
Lost to Port Gibson. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's getting down toward the end of the season. I think you have, 2 games left?
One game left.
Just
next
one?
Thursday.
Okay,
Yep.
next Thursday. Okay.
We're in 7-3-8. Yep.
Okay. Who do you have next Thursday night then?
Hazelhurst, the Battle Fork of Pike County.
Oh, okay. And that game will be where?
At Crystal Springs.
Okay.
Again this year.
All right. Well, it's been a tough year, no question about it. But good luck to the Tigers next Thursday night.
Roll that, Russ. I know you're listening. Go Dogs! Beat them horse!
He had a hard. Thanks, Ty. Thanks for the call. He had a tough time because that's both his teams.
That's right.
So you gotta flip the coin and who you gonna go with. But obviously the loyalties are more to the Bulldogs. But anyway, Ty, thank you for the call. And we've got through the first quarter hour. We've got a lot more time to go. An hour and 45 minutes. More scores and a lot more coming up. We'll remind you that we're one of the people that help us with this is the College Savings Plan of Mississippi, and we'll continue with more Friday Night Under the Lights in just a moment.
Traffic mobile app is available in the App Store.
Classical, jazz, indie, blues, folk, bluegrass, whatever.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more. If the money's yours, you should have it. That's why State Treasurer David McRae has returned a record $80 million in unclaimed money to Mississippians. And there's hundreds of millions more, maybe with your name on it. Check the list. Visit www.treasury.ms.gov and see if you have any of the unclaimed money. Each year, banks, utilities, businesses, brokers, and insurance companies turn over millions of dollars to the state because they're not sure who is entitled to the funds. Treasurer McRae has an entire unclaimed money staff waiting to take your claim and return your money. Check the list today. Treasury.ms.gov.
George Broadstreet along with Reed Vance, and as Russ likes to say, a cast of thousands locked all inside your radio. And we've got a lot of conversation about Friday night under the lights in Mississippi high school football. Got another score or two. Why don't you give a couple there, Reed?
Yeah, a couple that we didn't get to in the open of the show. Starkville defeated Murrah 55-14, so the Yellow Jackets are now 6-2. And Lanier keeps winning.
Yeah.
34-28. I believe they're undefeated, still on the season.
Yeah.
And as someone like you, George, has been around Metro Jackson high school football for so long, it's so nice to have one of our Jackson Public Schools programs enjoy this kind of success.
Yeah.
Again, they've done a great job over there.
Yeah. Lanier's always historically been a basketball school.
That's absolutely,
just incredible history in basketball. Not a lot of success in football, but they're having a great year this year. A couple of more scores. West Point defeated Caledonia 51-7. Pass Christian beat West Marion 28-7.
And we've got Ray Coleman on the phone.
Ray, good evening.
Hey, man, how y'all doing this evening?
Good.
We're doing just fine. Well, Clinton went up to Oxford. Was the game at Oxford or was it at Clinton? I think it was in Oxford, right?
Yeah, it was actually in Clinton tonight.
The
final score 33-23 Oxford. Truly a tale of two halves. Clinton led at the half 23-7.
Good.
And then Oxford went on to score 26 unanswered guys. I can't tell you, like in a vacuum, how different the two halves were. Clinton dominated time of possession in the first half. The special teams was dominated by Clinton. Offense, defense, they sacked Knox Kiffin 3 or 4 times in the first half. But credit that team. I've known that team through a coworker of mine who runs our veterans home in Oxford. His son plays for the team. And he basically told me, like, you can beat them up for 3 quarters, but all of a sudden they kind of figure it out in the second half. And, man, they did just that. Knox Griffin made excellent made excellent adjustments, had some deep shots down the field to his skill guys, and defensively they made some really good adjustments to get the win. And again, they're the toast of our region, and I think they're probably the only team right now that can truly say they would stand up against the Golden Wave in 7A.
Well, what does this mean for the Clinton Arrows, this loss?
Well, in the short term, it means they need to clean up some things, man. And here's what I mean by that. The turnovers, they got to cut that out. When you lead 23-7, you have to be disciplined in your approach in the second half. And we ended up having 3 turnovers. One was a scoop and score that kind of gave all the momentum to the Oxford Chargers. In the long term, what it means is we got 2 games left, next Friday at home versus Germantown, and then to close out the season on the road versus Madison. And so when you look at it, the season isn't done because it's kind of hard to say this, but in reality you lost to the right team because at the end of the day, Oxford was the top team in our region anyway. Now you must win out, though. You must beat Germantown and you must beat Madison if you plan on moving to the playoffs. If you win those last 2 games, you're now 3-2 in your region, and you still get a playoff berth. But if you lose next week, it's over with.
What if you win next week and lose the following week?
Oh man, don't get me a headache.
It's complicated. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
It becomes a math lesson that Ray Coleman just.
Yeah.
I was never that good at math, guys.
Okay.
Radio people don't do math.
Well,
that's why we're in radio.
Hey man,
we just got to take it.
What I promise you is this though. Once we get to that final game, if I'm able to talk about playoff potential, I'll have it figured out for you by then.
Okay. Well, you just take it one week at a time. You know, I mean, it just seems like, and I did check the score, and I saw where Clinton was ahead, and then on my way over here, I dial over and I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking, how did that happen? You know, I mean, I don't know how they, in a high school game, that's hard to score that many points in a half.
My wife said the same thing, man. She watches every game. She's a teacher at Clinton Park Elementary. And she texted me and she said, that happened in a hurry. And I said, yes, ma'am, it did. It was in a span of 20 minutes of real time, not game time, 20 minutes of real time. They went from trailing 23-7 to leading, again, 26 unanswered points. And you just kind of go, wow, how did they do that? Well, one, they're a good team. They have 1 loss on the season. They're a really good team, and then that 1 loss is to the defending 7A champs. So it's like, I get it now after watching them play. They bend, but they don't break. And when they figure you out, man, they step on the gas in a major way.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, how well did Knox Kiffin play?
I thought he played well. In the first half, it's like I said, he was overwhelmed. But I would expect that from a young kid. He's a sophomore in his first official start. But I'm telling you, man, once he figured it out, the kid has great pocket awareness. He knows when to run. He did a great job, and I think young quarterbacks struggle with this, and y'all don't know what I mean.
Yeah.
He knows how to step up in the pocket. He doesn't just continue to backpedal. He stepped up in the pocket and made some tremendous throws, about a 40-yard touchdown in the second half. And, I mean, he threw it on a rope, so the kid has great accuracy. And obviously, being the son of a head coach, he knows how to play the game. So I expect nothing but great things from Knox Kiffin.
Yeah, well.
All right. Well, Ray, thanks so much for taking time to call in tonight. We'll look for you next week. Germantown next week. Is that at Clinton or at Germantown?
That's at Clinton. That'll be the last home game of the season for the Arrows. And they play well at home. They'll have to play their best game if they want to keep their postseason hopes alive.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ray. Appreciate your call.
We got Eric Smith on the phone. He's going to, we'll have Greg Finn later, but Eric Smith's on to say something about the Pearl and Pebble game. Here's Eric.
Good evening, Eric. How are you doing tonight?
Well, hang on.
Eric, you there?
Yeah, how y'all doing?
There we go.
Hey, we're all right. Tell us about that game.
Man, Pearl Dunk went back old school, buddy. They won that game by defense and running that ball. Quarterback Jack Durr, he played a little bit of confidence running the ball, made right decisions on some reads and then design handoffs, and they had the Petal defense scratching their head what to do. And it was 14-14 at the half, and Pearl got the long touchdown in the second half and just kept that defense coming at Petal and never let them get down there again.
Well, that is a huge. To me, that's a huge upset. Petal had been playing so well, and Pearl had not had a particularly good year to this point. But that's a huge win for Pearl.
And exactly, that's why I chose to watch that game, because now next week's the big rivalry. It's East Dirt Pearl Brandon week next week.
Okay.
Petal and Pearl, Petal and Pearl is kind of like an Ole Miss Mississippi State. The best team don't always win that ball game because they get up to play each other and they go after each other.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I tell you, the thing, Pearl has not beaten Brandon in several years. Am I not right?
You're correct. I think it's 6 or 8, something like that.
Yeah.
It's up there.
Yeah.
Getting up there.
Well, that was certainly, with Brandon not struggling at this point and Pearl having a huge win, that really sets up a big game next week.
It could be two ships passing each other in the night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got.
Well, it's good to see Dr. Vance, but I hate missing Russ. But good talking to y'all.
All right. Thanks a lot, Eric. Appreciate the call.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Joseph Craven's on the line.
Joseph with Hartfield. Good evening.
Hey, evening. How are y'all doing?
We're doing well. Tell us about Hartfield Academy tonight.
We were out just down the road in Pelahatchie tonight, taking on East Rankin Academy in what was probably one of the strangest games that I've ever called so far in my career. Hartfield got a 56-30 victory, but yeah, it was. So Hartfield jumped out for a little bit. I think it was only 14-0 at the half, but it was also a first half that maybe only took 40-something minutes of real time. It was an incredibly fast first half for whatever reason. And then after Hartfield jumped out a little bit, they put in some backups, but I don't think East Rankin has enough of a deep roster to have any backups to put in, so the East Rankin starters scored a few points, and then Hartfield had to put the starters back in and extend the lead. So it was just a weird game.
Well, that certainly happens sometimes. So what does this mean for Hartfield in terms of the postseason?
So as of right now, the big talking point in the MAIS in general with the 4A, which is now the top tier of the MAIS, has been everything is based off of PowerPoint averages to determine the seeding. And I think at this point, if the quote-unquote Big Four of MRA, Hartfield Prep, and JA win out, I think if my math is right, Hartfield ends up hosting Jackson Prep in a semifinal matchup in a few weeks as a second seed.
Your guess is as good as anyone else's with this new system.
Yes, exactly. So it's been a weird one, but a bunch of us have been crunching the numbers, and best we can tell, because one of the major numbers that plays into it is how many wins your opponents have on their win total. And Hartfield's district is real good. I mean, East Rankin, Starkville Academy, Heritage, and Lamar are all 6+ win teams. And so that has helped Hartfield's average out. And so somehow the team that Jackson Prep, JA, and MRA beat in the regular season looks to be hosting as a 2 seed in this strange playoff system. So it's weird. The whole season's weird. It's just been weird.
We may have to employ a bracketologist, add a bracketologist to our staff.
Yeah.
A cast of thousands inside your radio to make sense of this.
Well, with a slide rule and a few other
a dartboard.
I wish you could see on every Monday morning when all of us get together in our offices at the school going, okay, let's see if we can make sense of this. We're having to pull in, trigonometry teachers and our dual credit algebra teachers from Belhaven to come in and hey, can you help us figure it out?
Oh well. Well, Joseph, we appreciate the call. And who do the Hawks play next week?
Next week will be the final district matchup, the final game of the regular season, senior night, with the Starkville Academy Volunteers coming down. So another really solid squad that the Hawks will face to wrap up the regular season and then get ready for the playoffs.
All right. Thanks so much for your call. We look forward to talking to you next Friday night.
Sounds good. Y'all have a good week.
All right. You too.
Thanks, Jess.
All right. Well, that wraps up the first half hour of the show. Some interesting games we've had to talk about. We've got plenty more to talk about, and we've got an hour and a half to do it. Plus, we'll have the Crazy Eights at 11:30. We remind you that support for Friday Night Under the Lights comes from Cricket Wireless. Phones, plans, and coverage information can be found on their website, which is cricketwireless.com. Back with more football in just a moment.
Mississippians love football, and our high schools in South Mississippi like Gulfport, Moss Point, and Ocean Springs stay connected with their students, parents, and community by live streaming events, including football through WSN Live. WSN Live provides your school with everything you need for professional and seamless live streams that are easy for students to run. And your fans can watch online from anywhere on any device. With WSN Live, your school gets the right gear, a rock-solid network, and game-time tech support. Learn more at WSNLive.com.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
At Mississippi Public Broadcasting, we tell local stories that matter. Educational and entertaining television,
informative
radio,
MPB
news
news
podcasts.
stories,
We have something
up-to-date
for everyone.
severe weather
So tune
info,
in
and the
enjoy all
stated
we have to
worldwide
offer every
reach
day.
telling the
MPB,
story
your
of
stories,
Mississippi
our
on
mission.
MPB Think Radio.
Boy, this show goes by quick. We're already half an hour down into our third quarter hour, and we've got Greg Flynn on the phone when you're ready, George.
All right, Greg, we've had some interesting games this year, but I would think this one has to rank up there as maybe one of the more pivotal upsets that we've had recently. Pearl winning over Petal at Petal 21-14.
I think you're absolutely right. It was an upset that I don't think anybody saw coming. Not the way Petal had been playing, and Pearl coming off that really hard loss last week to Northwest Rankin. But my goodness, were they ready for this one tonight? It was purely physical. The Pearl offense has figured out that it is a true power running game. Derek Alexander, he scored 3 touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 1 a reception from Jack Durr. It was amazing because Petals drove all the way down to the 19-yard line to try and tie the score with 38 seconds left. And on 4th and 5, Trey McGriff, the Pearl middle linebacker, he jumped up. He only stands about 6 feet, but I promise you he was about 6'4", and knocked the ball down, sending the Pearl sideline into a frenzy, and Marcus Boyles across the way into shock.
Well, I mean, your next game is against Brandon, correct?
Yes, the Rankin County Super Bowl next week.
Right. Well, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I mentioned this to somebody else a few minutes ago, but Pearl, I mean, how many years has it been since Pearl beat Brandon?
At least 5.
Yeah, okay. I knew it's been a good long time. So that really kind of...
I think it was it was actually the 2021 regular season, so about 4 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. But Brandon has dominated the series of late.
Well, Brandon's been really, really good.
Right, absolutely.
I'm still scratching my head about what's going on over there.
Yeah.
I think everybody
like
is.
to call that the team to our east. I was watching some of the stream up in because we were playing at Petal, and they were just down the road in Oak Grove, and man, it's just like Brandon got pushed around, and I'm not used to seeing that from a Brandon team. Oak Grove was just pushing them around.
Well, and that shapes up to be a huge game next week. Is that at Pearl or Brandon?
It is at Pearl, and what's interesting is, though, while Oak Grove, Pearl, and Petal are all 2-1 now in the region, that could flip on a dime next week because if Brandon wins that game at 1-2 and Pearl loses, well, then it would be Brandon would have tiebreaker over Pearl, so they would actually jump into a playoff slot, and Pearl would drop out. But if Pearl wins that game next week, they pretty much clinch a playoff spot with a remaining game against Oak Grove. So much on the line, no matter how bad Brandon's season has been to this point. And strange things happen in that Rankin County Super Bowl, and a playoff spot will be on the line next week.
Well, it certainly sounds like it's going to be a good ball game. It certainly sounds like that maybe Pearl's found sometimes running the football and playing good defense still wins football games in this day of throwing the ball all over the place. Huh?
Oh, it absolutely has. And Pearl's offensive line has been as dominant. When they run the football well, they've been unbelievably dominant. It's a 2 running back approach with Peyton Parks and Alexander, and then Jack Durr likes to pull it down. He looks like Tim Tebow running that football out there. So it's been really impressive to watch.
Well, Greg, thanks so much for calling in tonight. Appreciate your time, but we'll look forward to hearing from you after the Rankin County Super Bowl next Friday night.
You got it, fellas.
All right. Thanks a lot, Greg. And I still can't get over that. That's really a big win for sure.
Yeah, big win, and it sets up I think it sets up as Greg talked about.
Yeah.
What is all the games have been competitive, I think, but this is going to be perhaps one that now the Pearl folks will say, okay, this is the year.
Yeah.
This is the year. We stop the streak.
We can get them.
And we can get them.
It'll be interesting for sure. Yeah. All right, Chris?
John Weaver.
Hey, John Weaver from MRA. John, we have not given that score. How about you give us the MRA, I think, Brookhaven Academy score?
Yeah, so it was the 3rd time in history that MRA and Brookhaven has played. Brookhaven has led the series 2-0. Last time MRA and Brookhaven Academy played was 1978, 1979. Patriots victorious tonight, 42-7.
Okay, 42-7. When you said that, I knew it had been a long time since MRA had played Brookhaven Academy.
Yeah,
but
Herbert Davis was in the 6th and 7th grade.
Well, I don't know whether I want to bring this up or not, but Russ and I did a game from Madison Ridgeland High School.
The Braves,
Yeah, and it was on Highway 51 there.
That's right.
Like in 1976, I think. It was a very small school. That was a very long time ago. But anyway, MRA.
School colors?
What's that?
Do you remember those school colors for Madison Ridgeland High School?
No, I don't.
Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Really? I don't. I do not remember that. I don't remember that. Anyway, That's another long story. But MRA is now 8-1 on the season.
Correct.
Who do they have remaining on the schedule?
We play Simpson next week on the road for Halloween. It was a quick one tonight. Ryan Ross and Herbert are best friends. Anytime I think any head coach plays their alma mater, they want to be generous and kind. So it was 21-0 real quick, pulled starters. and then 35-0 at half, and then we trade scores in the fourth quarter, make it 42-7. But it was one of those you get in, get out, league the crazy way the AS has things going right now. It's the district that you're in. So this is our second district game. We're going to play our last district game at Simpson Academy.
Okay.
Next week. Then we take care of business next Friday night. We will be off next week, and on November 5th, we'll just kind of chill out. And then November 14th, if everything goes the way it's been going, it looks like MRA and JA will play in the semifinals.
Okay. So, without getting into the calculations, I think MRA is the top team ranked in the
according to the
standings.
BCS back in 19 whatever, this formula I think we're using, and that didn't work anyway. But the BCS formula for PowerPoints, I think you have to have physics degree to figure out how this thing goes.
Yeah.
But we're going to be the number 1 seed, the 2, 3, and the 4. The way we've been looking at it, I think Prep's going to be 2, Hartford's going to be 3, Jay's going to be 4. The weird thing about this whole thing, JA beat Prep and Hartfield head-to-head.
Yeah, I know. That doesn't seem right to me, but that.
No. Look, it is what it is. It's what our conference agreed upon, and that's the way it's going to be. So it's going to be a humdinger here when November 14th at Patriot Field, if this holds serve.
I think we need a PowerPoint presentation to explain the PowerPoint system. Did the office provide you all with that?
This is my first year not to coach football, and I've tried not to look at it too much because those kind of numbers, you got to have a sermon to have a PowerPoint to figure out a PowerPoint system of how these PowerPoints will help you in the playoffs. A lot of P's there. We might as well be Baptist preachers.
All right, John. Hey, thanks so much for taking time to join us. We'll look forward to talking with you next week.
Yeah, guys. Have a great one.
All right, thank you.
We've got Caleb Hamill on the phone.
Hey, Caleb. Thanks for giving us a call. Which game did you cover tonight?
Yeah, our Jones County Game of the Week brought us to Northeast Jones at Purvis this evening. Purvis gets the win 28-21. A game that came down to just a lot of small plays. Game tied at 14-all in the third quarter, and Northeast Jones has Purvis backed up to their own 3-yard line on 3rd and long, and then a 97-yard touchdown run broken out by the Purvis quarterback. And lo and behold, the next play from scrimmage, Northeast's next possession, is a pick six of 30 yards. So you go from a tie game 14-all to 28-14. Northeast gets a touchdown back and make it 28-21, but just could not score on that final drive to force overtime. So with that, Purvis is in the driver's seat to make playoffs. Northeast Jones has a lot of work cut out for them now in their region in their first year for 5A.
Boy, that sounds like a game where literally the game turned around on two consecutive plays? That's the way you described it?
Yeah, exactly. Northeast defense played a terrific second half. I mean, minus that one big play given up of the 97-yard touchdown. They really buckled down in the second half, just didn't have the offense to match it.
So you got Purvis and Northeast Jones. Purvis wins tonight. What about these two teams in terms of their playoff standings? You mentioned Purvis is in the driver's seat. Who do they have left on their schedule?
So Purvis is left. They are 2-1 in the region. They still have Wayne County and Van Cleve. Van Cleve played Stone pretty close tonight. Wayne County's a much improved team. But still, it seems like with the teams that Purvis has left, they should be in the top 4 to finish. Northeast Jones, meanwhile, have Stone, which is 3-0 in the region, and then Wayne County to wrap up the year. So an uphill climb right now for Northeast. They could have some tie-break scenarios that could possibly get them in, but it is not easy for them moving forward.
Caleb, thanks so much for taking time to join us here tonight.
Thanks so much, guys. Looking forward to next week. We'll be at Hattiesburg and West Jones.
That'll be a good one.
That will be a good one.
Thanks so much, y'all.
All right, thank you. All right, well, we're about to wrap this one up. Just to throw in a couple of more scores, some that we have not given in a while, but Gulfport defeated Biloxi tonight 35-0. Oak Grove, a winner over Brandon, 20-7. Let's see, Calhoun City had a big win over Vardaman, 54-0. Let's see if I can give you one more. Columbia remained undefeated, defeating South Pike 49-36.
Did you get the Tupelo score?
Yes. Go ahead and give it.
38-13 over Horn Lake. I just got to give a shout out. I don't know who runs the the graphics department, the sports information department at Tupelo High School, they are fantastic.
Really?
Fantastic. Better than most colleges that I deal with. They're just great.
What aspect are you talking about?
The game notes, the graphics, everything
okay.
else.
Okay.
The Tupelo High School people, they do a great job with it.
You know, that is one of those, to be honest with you, like doing this show, there's some schools that you can't get a score from.
That's right.
And there are others that they're just you can't get away from them. They're constantly there. But anyway, all right, this quarter hour is ending up. We'll remind you that support for Friday Night Under the Lights comes from Malone Roofing. They have metal walls, roofs, maintenance, and they serve Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, and Florida's Panhandle. Commercial and residential roofing information can be found at ecmalone.com. Back with more in a moment.
Mississippi football families, have you thought about how you're going to tackle student loan debt? Don't do it on your own. Pass the ball to State Treasurer David McRae and his College Savings Mississippi team today. With College Savings Mississippi, you can lock in today's tuition rate, prepay college, and avoid student loan debt altogether. Don't let your finances get sacked because you didn't invest in your child's education. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more today.
At Mississippi Public Broadcasting, we tell local stories that matter. Educational and entertaining television, radio, news, and podcasts. We have something for everyone. So tune in and enjoy all we have to offer. Every day, MPB, your stories, our mission.
Commercial roofing, reliable and durable solutions for your business. Residential roofing, protecting your home with quality craftsmanship. Metal walls, custom designs for a modern look. Emergency services, rapid response to protect your property.
After a recent hailstorm, I needed a total roof replacement. I chose Malone Roofing for the job, and my new roof looks great.
Contact us today for a free inspection. Visit www.ecmalone.com or call 1-833-7-MALONE.
Welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights. George Broadstreet along with Reed Vance, Chris Saxton, Ty Bailey. More Friday Night Under the Lights, filling in for Russ Robinson. Reed Vance, thanks so much for being here
Thanks
again
for
tonight.
having me.
Yes, and it's been an interesting night. Unfortunately, that's kind of the way it is sometimes. Russ sometimes misses some of the more interesting nights.
Yes.
But anyway, we've had some great games and some great scores. And we have a caller, I believe, Chris.
Yeah, you got Granny. Here he is.
All right, Granny.
Hey, George, and hey, Reed, how y'all doing?
We're all right. How about you?
I'm doing good. You know,
Good.
I stayed home. I stayed home again tonight, and I went to the Den at Springer.
Okay.
And Springer won. They won 46-20. So they played Lumberton. Springer beat Lumberton 46-20.
Okay.
You know, Stringer was down 20-16 at halftime, and Stringer scored 30 points in the second half and won it 46-20. Now this is the year of the running back. Stringer's got a running back, Lumberton's got a running back, Richton's got one, and Brandon's got one. There's running backs everywhere in this state.
Running backs everywhere in the state. You talking about good running backs? Is that what you're saying?
A good run, yes.
Yeah.
Springer, Richton, Lumberton, Brandon. Everywhere I go, I see a good running back somewhere. You know.
Well, you always do a good job of picking out a good game, but Stringer's kind of your favorite, right?
Well, Stringer's where I'm from. You know, I went to school here, and they're just they're 7-2 this year. They hadn't been 7-2 in 10 years, probably.
Okay.
I mean, they're just really good. They're really good. They play really good on offense. They got a quarterback, got a running back, and you know their defense is playing better every week. They just ain't where they need to be right now. But they got a guy named Will Anthony that was everywhere.
What classification is Stringer?
They in 1A.
Okay, that's what I thought. So they got a pretty good shot at making the playoffs?
Oh, they're going to be in the playoffs. I think they're going to wind up being second because they lost to Taylorsville. But if they win next week, they'll secure the second spot against the Resurrection next week.
Okay, all right. Well, Granny, thanks for the call. Thanks for the report on that particular game, Stringer and Lumberton, and we look forward to hearing from you next week.
Well, good win for Pearl tonight. That was a surprise, but hey, we'll see you next week.
All right.
From the Rankin County Super Bowl.
Okay. All right, that'll be a good one to go see for sure. All right, Reed, introduce our guest in studio
go ahead,
here.
George.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've got the big MAIS game of the night, or one of the biggest games of the night, was Tri-County hosting Leak. So we have Philip Palmertree and also Cliff Barker in the studio with us. And guys, give us a report on that game.
Yeah, I'll start off by saying this. I'm in much better spirits than last time Russ brought me in here, right after we had been shellacked by Jackson Prep back in the early part of the season. But, yeah, it was the 1 versus 2 matchup, and Philip and I have been looking forward to this game all year. We've been communicating as the season went down, and, you know, most people had this circled as the marquee matchup in 3A, and it started out that way, but it turned out that we couldn't say Rebels on the broadcast tonight because we had Rebels going both ways. But Tri-County ended up having a big night tonight. Yeah. But I told Philip on the way over here, the only thing is there's going to be a rematch. And I think it's going to be a war the next time these two teams face off.
Well, now, the report I had was it was 52-18, Tri-County won?
It was. Okay. Tri-County came out with a running attack. It was the throwing team of Leak versus the running team of Tri-County tonight. But the story of the night for me, and I think Philip will be in agreement, Tri-County's defense really made it tough on Leak Academy tonight. And the defensive secondary that had some struggles early in the season played solid, and a kid in George Wilcox, who we know how he slings the ball around, had been sacked twice on the season. Tri-County sacked him 3 times tonight. That was something that was unexpected.
Yeah. Philip, give us your perspective there.
Yeah, early on the teams were trading blows. It was 14-12 with about 8.5 minutes to go before halftime. Tri-County put a little 3-minute drive together, running the ball. I'm not even sure Tri-County completed a pass tonight.
They had one. They had the one
Wow.
completed pass to the tight end. I think we passed
That's right.
2 or 3 times.
That's right.
Something
one
like that.
for 3, but they went ahead 22-12, and then on the ensuing kickoff, just a little. It's not fair to call it an onside kick.
No, it was not.
It's the shortest pooch kick you ever saw. It went just over the front line of Leak, and the ball was just rolling around free around the 40-yard line. Tri-County hopped on it, and then they were in the end zone a couple of plays later, and we're up 30-12, and all of a sudden Leak started staggering from there.
Yeah, I felt like that was a game-changing moment, and it was. I called it on my call on the radio. I said it was accidentally on purpose. I mean, it's you hope that happens sometimes, but it was in no way intended to be an onside kick. But those front line guys just didn't know what to do. They just stood there and almost looked at the ball. Tri-County jumped on it, and I think that score kind of shifted the focus for Leak a little bit, and that momentum really built for Tri-County. And I think that was a monumental play in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, Tri-County stole a possession there and then cashed it in. Tri-County didn't play a perfect game tonight, but Leak was unable to grab hold of those opportunities to get back in the game. And third quarter, they were shut out. I was really impressed with Tri-County's, not only their pass rush, but how physical their DBs were against Leak's receivers. Leak's receivers just dropped more passes tonight than we have in the previous 8 games combined.
Oh, Wilcox is the real deal. Wilcox hit a lot of receivers in the hands, and yes, Philip said third and fourth quarter they got a case of the drops, and that really hurt Leak. Leak had a chance to get back in the ball game and had some big opportunities. Had one big touchdown pass, 69 yards, I believe, called back on a holding penalty. And I thought the game was officiated pretty well. I thought it was pretty straight, right down the middle. I thought it was officiated well, but it was a sight to see. And if you get a chance to go see Leak in person, Wilcox is one of the best quarterbacks I've seen in years. The kid has an arm, and one thing that really surprised me, I'm sure Philip's used to seeing it, when he put that foot in the ground and got downhill, he's much faster than you would think for 6'3", 230. I hope he's getting some good looks from some schools, because that kid's got legit arm talent, and he's a smart quarterback in the pocket. And the numbers tonight don't reflect what he's capable of, because we thought at one time, Philip, 8 drops.
I think so.
8 drops on the night, and that's balls in the hands of receivers.
So you said that these two teams are probably going to see each other again. I guess playoffs begin in, is it 2 weeks?
Yes, so we'll finish up regular season. Both of us will finish up next week. We've got Riverfield. Leak has Central Hines. Next week we play Thursday. Leak plays on Friday. Then we'll have a week off, and every way I calculate the PowerPoints, if assuming a win next week, Tri-County will end up, that's a funny subject.
We're going to get a tip jar every time somebody says PowerPoints.
Well, I'll get off of it quick then. It looks like Tri-County should end up as the number 1 seed. Leak should end up as the number 2. So the rematch would be, if both teams are able to win in the first round of the playoffs, a state championship rematch, which I'm sure is exactly what Leak wants, because you never know what's going to happen that second time. I'm expecting a much different ball game if and when these two teams face off again.
A big crowd tonight?
Oh, it was loaded on both sides. They had a reunion for the 40-year anniversary of the second state championship at Tri-County. Had a great crowd on both sides. It was a good atmosphere, but it was a weird atmosphere, because I've never heard that big of a crowd get that quiet as the pace of the game kind of got a little bit out of hand as the game went on. It was a very unusual feeling in there tonight.
Well, you know, it's always tough to beat a team twice in a season. So it's got to be a good game coming up.
Yeah, Leak's coming away from that game feeling like they left a lot of opportunities on the table, a lot of big plays on the table that they could have hit on, and certainly going to look forward to one more crack at them. And as Cliff said, that would be Thursday, the 20th of November.
It's the marquee game, 7 o'clock on Thursday night.
Game at Jackson Academy, but you got to win 2 more games to get there.
That's right. There's a team called Columbia that probably is going to have something to say about that, and that'll probably be Tri-County's first round matchup.
Wow. Okay. Well, guys, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate y'all coming in the studio. I don't think it was too far for you to come here, was it?
No, it's about 30 minutes. Not bad.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Before the game started, a helicopter landed at the 50-yard line. Turned out it was to deliver the game ball. I thought it was Russ sending the helicopter to pick us up, and they got there early.
That would have been the private jet.
Yeah, he's too cheap for that.
Yeah, we don't have a long enough airstrip for the private jet. We have to have the helicopter.
All right. Thanks so much for being here with us, and we appreciate it, and we look forward to visiting with you all probably on the phone the next time, but we look forward to you being with us next time. All right, well, we've got to take a break. It's almost the top of the hour, and Reed and I will be back for another hour. We've got the Crazy Eights coming up at 11:30, but we'll remind you that we'll take this time out and back with more Friday Night Under the Lights in just a moment.
One in 10 Mississippians has unclaimed money awaiting claim at the state treasury. There's literally hundreds of millions of dollars waiting to be united with the rightful owner. At www.treasury.ms.gov to search, you'll see your name and stake your claim by following these instructions. You'll be asked for some basic ID like a copy of your license or a government-issued ID, then hit send. Treasurer David McRae has a dedicated unclaimed money team awaiting your claim, ready to return your money. Don't wait. Look for your name and stake your claim today. www.treasury.ms.gov Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
And welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights. George Broadstreet, Reed Vance, our kind of guest host tonight, along with Chris Saxton and Ty Bailey. We're here another hour, and we've got more conversation about Friday Night Under the Lights football in Mississippi on this Friday night. Chris, who do we have?
Jared Schatz.
Jared Schatz. Jared, Germantown had a huge win tonight.
Yeah, Dr. Vance, George, good to talk to you on this beautiful Friday night. And it has never been more beautiful in the town of Gluckstadt tonight, as they are still dancing and going crazy. Just got home a few minutes ago. Took forever to get out of the parking lot. You would have thought the Beatles were back together the way that ball game ended.
Well, Germantown, a 21-17 winner over Madison Central. Was that the score?
That's correct. That was the final score. Madison Central got off to a 10-0 lead in the first quarter, and everybody that was wearing the Cardinal red and black was thinking, "Oh boy, here we go again." And this was an offense for Germantown coming into the ball game, averaging 41 points a contest. And Coach Mitchell, the Germantown coach, he told me, he said, "Look, this is going to be the best defense we go up against in the district, maybe all season long." They lived up to the hype in the first half, and some good adjustments made in the second half for Germantown. Really able to stop that Madison Central run game, and able to get a little physical themselves, and able to get a lead in the ball game, 14-10 in the fourth quarter. Madison Central would answer the call. King White, though, he had a huge run for the final score, a run where he took off and got about 70 yards just on a speed option and would not go down. He drug about, 3 or 4 Jaguars about 15 to 20 yards down the field. One of those seniors that's, praised on this football team. And, it was this senior group going into the season that a lot of people said, if they don't beat Madison Central this year, they're never going to beat Madison Central. And it wasn't easy, guys. 7 games in a row, Madison Central had gone out victorious, and finally turned the page in Madison County tonight.
And considering how the season ended last year for Germantown, they've got to think, okay, this is it. This is a real chance. So what does this game mean for playoff implications this season, and maybe a little bit long term about the future of this team this season?
Yeah, absolutely. And really, we thought Oxford had beaten Germantown 2 weeks in a row after a heartbreaking overtime loss last week, in which Oxford went for 2. And really, look, talking to everybody in the community, they couldn't get over that game. I was talking to people last night about it, and I was thinking, boy, I hope the team doesn't have this same mindset, because they've got a big rivalry game that I don't even know if it's a rivalry. They had never won coming into tonight. You got to beat somebody before it becomes a rivalry. But all that to say, with this win, that comeback win in the second half, now Germantown has sole possession of second place in the division. They will obviously go to Clinton. If they win that ball game, they definitely wrap up a playoff spot, and then they'll have Murrah to finish the season. So it's kind of been murderer's row, in the district, as they beat Starkville, tough loss to Oxford, and then Madison Central tonight. But look, everybody's been sleeping on the Arrows. We kept looking at the scoreboard. We saw that Clinton had a big lead. I know they didn't hold on to it, but that is a really good football team, and it's been a gauntlet. Some of the old famous football coaches used to say you can only get your team up 3 or 4 times a year. Well, you got to wonder how much is left in the tank as they make the trek over there to Clinton next week.
Yeah, I mean, Clinton's really hard to figure out. I mean, they had a big lead over Oxford at the half, and then Oxford just really came on strong and won that game, which probably maybe says a little bit more about the Chargers than maybe the Arrows. But anyway, it'll be an interesting game, and it's kind of a do or die type of situation for Clinton. They really need to win next week, so it should be a good ball game.
Yeah, I think so, George. I mean, you don't mess with a team that has nothing to lose. They'll have their backs against the wall. They're on their home field, so Germantown will have their hands full. They're going to have to turn the page quickly on this one. I know they'll be up to the wee hours of the morning, but they're going to have to turn the page. Huge win. They finally get the first win, so hopefully that 24-hour rule is in place, and they'll have a clean slate going into Clinton next week.
All right. Well, Jared, thank you so much for the call. We appreciate the report, and we look forward to talking to you next week.
Thanks, gentlemen. Talk to you next week. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Jared.
You too. All right. Tommy Upton, JA, Jackson Academy. We have not, I don't know that we've given that score. Tommy, tell us about your ball game.
So not Jackson Academy.
Picayune.
Right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, sorry. Picayune.
It's okay. Picayune went to Long Beach and improved to 7-1 overall, 3-0 in the district, right, with a big win against the Bearcats, 42-7.
That's quite a nice win for the Maroon Tide. Tell us a little bit about how it happened.
Yeah, Tide rolled really from the beginning. Long Beach got the opening kickoff. Tide forced a 3-and-out, and then proceeded to muff the punt and give Long Beach the ball inside of the 30. Tide defense had to stiffen and turn them away, 4th down at the 2. So Tide gets the ball at the 2, and then 2 plays later, junior running back takes the first play and goes 47 yards, takes the next pitch and goes 51 yards. So 2 plays, and he goes 98 yards and score the first touchdown of the night. And that just kind of set the tone for the rest of the night. 21-0 at halftime, and then Tide goes on to cruise, really 42-7. Big night for the Tide in running backs. We talked about the Tide has had some really good running backs over the last 4 or 5 years. Several of those are playing Division I football now. But Xavier Dennis, another good one, junior, we had him unofficially 24 carries, about 370 yards tonight. His second consecutive game of over 350 yards, almost 800 yards in 2 weeks carrying the football.
Wow, that's some serious running. So now Picayune, you said 7-0. Is that what I heard?
7-1 overall.
7-1 overall.
Lost a really good Ocean Springs back in the preseason.
Right.
7-1 overall. 3-0 in the district. Next week we'll head down to Goshen to take on the Gators.
So they sounds like, do they control their destiny in terms of where they're going to wind up in the playoffs?
They do. So we got 2 games left. We have Goshen next week, and then our rivalry game, the end of the season, against Pearl River Central. So yeah, Tide wins out. They will win the district right now. The only undefeated team in the district.
Some things are constant in life: death, taxes, and the Maroon Tide of Picayune having an outstanding year.
Tommy, yes, like my color analyst said, it's the toss sweep from Picayune is like Novocaine. It's always going to work. You just got to give it a little time.
I like it. Tommy, thanks so much for taking time to call us tonight.
All right, see you guys.
All right, thank you.
Good night.
When Chris said Tommy, I'm thinking Tommy Barnett, which is Jackson Academy, but he said Tommy Upton, which is Picayune. Well, that's just that's my old brain, and it's 11 o'clock, and
no, I'm with you.
That's no
It's
problem.
one of those things.
Well, I can't mess this enough. This is Ansley Brent to talk about the Gulf Coast.
Yes, hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well. How about y'all?
Oh, well, we're doing well. Good night of football as usual. What game were you going to give us a report on?
So, obviously, I got all the coast numbers if you want them, but the game I was at was Gulfport Biloxi. So, obviously, traditionally a big rivalry, but this did not look like one at all. Gulfport won 35-0, so now they're 4-0 in district, the only undefeated team for Class 7A Region 4. So a shocker to most, but they've earned it with their good quarterback, Parker Nettles, and running back, Cooper Cross, 2 touchdowns in just the first quarter. He recently decommitted from ULL and now has offers from Auburn and State, so they're going to be fighting hard for that guy.
Can he play tomorrow?
Yep, literally. Maybe he says, winner gets me. We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not there, honestly.
What other Gulf Coast scores can you give us?
Yeah, so Ocean Springs, West Harrison, it was a good first half, but Ocean Springs ultimately came alive like they always do in the second quarter, 56-21. So West Harrison didn't score at all in the second half. And then D'Iberville is a bye. They're on their bye week. So next week, Gulfport goes to D'Iberville. So that'll basically, of course, there's some numbers and things like that, but ultimately will be the game to determine the district champion. So that'll be a good one. Hancock Gaucher, I know he just said Picayune's going to Gaucher next week. They just lost by 1 point to Hancock, 28-27. But Hancock quarterback Tyson Canan, before tonight, he was third in the state for total yards, I think at least 2,300. So definitely a dual threat quarterback. Excited to see where he goes. I think he has JUCO offers, but love to see him get a D1 also one day. I'm trying to think. A lot of our coach teams kind of lost. I'm trying to think of a good one.
Okay.
Pascagoula won 42-0 over Pearl River Central, and not only was it a district win, but it was also their head coach Louis DeSim's 100th win. So definitely wanted to mention that.
Good. Outstanding. So I want to go back to Gulfport real quick. You said they're 4-0 in the district. So have they won that district yet, or they got one more game to do it?
So they have. I was told they have one more game, like next week with the Iberville determines it. Now this could be wrong. This is hearsay. I haven't done my research yet because obviously I was just at the first half of these games.
Sure.
But I think they can lose to the Iberville and still win it. They just can't lose by more than 12 points is what I was told. But I still need to do my own research.
PowerPoints, probably.
Well, we shall see.
Ainsley, thank you so much for your report. Good report on all the coast scores, and we look forward to hearing from you next week.
Yes, sir. It's going to be a good one.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well,
we got Brandon Davis, so we still got one more caller we got to go.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
So here's Brandon.
Brandon, how are you this evening?
Oh, what's going on, gentlemen? How are y'all?
Good.
Sounds like the Vikings got a big win tonight.
I tell you what, Dr. Vance, we did 42-13 win over Neshoba Central. Nash Morgan continues to impress, and sophomore back David Scott had 2 touchdowns, one of 61 yards and 24 yards. He's only a sophomore, and he's been extremely impressive. And Nash Morgan just continues to lead this offense. And I said something on the air a few weeks ago that I know raised some eyebrows. He reminds me a lot of Bray Hubbard when he was down at Ocean Springs. Again, not quite as polished of a passer yet as Bray was, but in terms of running the football, he's hard to stop. Tonight he had 2 rushing touchdowns called back, one of nearly 70 yards and the other one, I believe, 30 yards called back on holding calls. But he's just continued to evolve. And Dr. Vance, I know you saw him for a couple of years, and he's just continuing to lead this team. But for tonight, the Viking defense was kind of a bend but don't break. Sam Hoffman and the Neshoba Central offense, a lot of talent over there. They did a nice job of really finding our weak spots and exposing the scheme, I guess, we were trying to run. But it was a good job by the coaching staff to make some adjustments and keep us in the game and force Neshoba into 2 turnovers and 4 turnover on downs. So a very good win. With this win tonight, Warren Central will be in the playoffs for the 14th consecutive year. So that's something that we're all really proud of up here.
That is impressive.
Absolutely. So did I hear right? Did I see maybe your post on Facebook that Nash is now the all-time leading touchdown passer in Warren Central? Is that right, or am I making that up?
Passing yards, Dr.
Passing
Vance.
yards, okay. Passing yards.
He passed Uncle Rob last week. He needed 112 yards. Actually, he needed 75 yards. He got 118, and it was really funny talking to Rob before the game. He said, we're just going to get in the power out and run it all night.
Yeah.
But obviously that wasn't the case. it was really nice to see that. It was to see him break his uncle's record, and I've been joking with him. I said, Nash eats first Thanksgiving. So, but it was really nice to see that. And Josh Morgan also became third overall in wins in Warren County.
Yeah. All right.
With that game. So it was a history-making night last week for the Vikings.
Good deal. Thanks, Brandon, so much for your time, and keep up the good work with the podcast, man. It sounds great.
Thank y'all so much. Y'all take care.
You bet.
All right, thank you. All right, we were at the end of another quarter hour. We've got another 15 minutes to go before we get to our Crazy 8 segment. But we will remind you that support for Friday Night Under the Lights comes from the Office of the Mississippi State Treasurer. The Unclaimed Property Division has a searchable database with cash and stocks waiting for the rightful owner to claim. Access to the database is treasury.mississippi.gov.
Support for
Mississippi football families, have you thought about how you're going to tackle student loan debt? Don't do it on your own. Pass the ball to State Treasurer David McRae and his College Savings Mississippi team today. With College Savings Mississippi, you can lock in today's tuition rate, prepay college, and avoid student loan debt altogether. Don't let your finances get sacked because you didn't invest in your child's education. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more today.
At Mississippi Public Broadcasting, we tell local stories that matter. Educational and entertaining television, radio, news, and podcasts. We have something for everyone. So tune in and enjoy all we have to offer. Every day, MPB. Your stories, our mission.
Commercial roofing, reliable and durable solutions for your business. Residential roofing, protecting your home with quality craftsmanship. Metal walls, custom designs for a modern look. Emergency services, rapid response to protect your property.
After a recent hailstorm, I needed a total roof replacement. I chose Malone Roofing for the job, and my new roof looks great.
Contact us today for a free inspection. Visit www.ecmalone.com or call 1-833-7-MALONE.
Welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights. George Broadstreet along with Reed Vance here with you tonight. Russ Robinson on assignment. Jackson Prep Patriots going to Louisiana, and the Patriots won fairly easily over Silliman Institute. I think it was 54-6 or 52-6 was the final there. We've got some callers, I believe, Chris.
Let's talk to Harold.
All right, Harold.
About pedal.
Harold, I don't know if I've ever been, well, I've been surprised by some games, but this one really surprised me. Pearl pulling the upset over Petal tonight, 21-14.
Yeah, guys, it was a, homecoming was tonight, and for us to lose to Pearl in the fashion of being losing 21-14. But the thing about it was, one of the turnarounds in the ball game were in the third quarter when they were up 21-14 and we were going down the field and we're ready to could have possibly gone in and scored, and it was an interception right there. We hold them
going in. Now, I thought Pearl would have kicked a field goal or something, but we hold them, get the ball back, we go down the field, and like Mr. Flynn said, with about 19 seconds, but one of the plays before that 19-second runoff was a third and 7. We throw the ball in the corner end zone and thought he had caught the ball, but apparently the back judge ruled he was out of bounds. So we run the ball again, and on the fourth down, we throw it across the middle, and Pearl secures the victory. But, you know, the thing about it is there's 4 teams now in that division: Pearl, Petal, Oak Grove, and Northwest Rankin. And next week could decide, but it may be that final week of the season, because we go to Meridian to take on the Meridian Wildcats, whereas Pearl takes on Brandon, and Oak Grove takes on Northwest Rankin. If I'm not mistaken, Oak Grove will be at Northwest Rankin will be at Oak Grove next week.
Okay.
So, you know how the scenario will be there. It's just all depends on what teams show up. And
yeah.
Once again, I give it to my staff at Federal, the great job that we did. We had a great homecoming parade, great atmosphere, but it was just not what we wanted to pull off. But I mean, I'll stay behind that team 100%, and I know if they're all listening, I'll back them till they tell me to not do it. But I'm going to back my Federal Panthers 155%. You can't get any higher than that, guys. But it's going to be an interesting scenario to see what happens. Just like Aisley said down on the coast, that game between D'Iberville and Gulfport could decide it. But hey, what team's going to show up next week?
Well, I was going to ask you. Do you think was this a case of, Petal didn't play well, or was it a case that Pearl just played a good ball game? What was?
I couldn't really say that it was that way, but I would be thinking we just didn't play good football. I mean, they were playing good to be like it was. I don't want to say anything out of the way that would get me in trouble with Coach Boyle or anything. But I believe that this team will just turn it around and play better ball next week.
Yeah.
And be ready, because, like I said, the scenario is, let's just say Pearl beats Brandon, and the scenario will be that Pearl will have it over us, but then Pearl's got to play Oak Grove and Oak Grove the following week. So, the last game of the season this year between Pearl and Oak Grove and Petal and Northwest Rankin could decide your 4 seeds right there.
Yeah. All right, Harold. We appreciate your call, and we need to kind of move on to another caller. But thanks so much, and we look forward to hearing from you next week. And the Petal.
We will be up with the Meridian Wildcats next week in Meridian at Ray Stadium.
All right. Well, maybe the results will be better next week. We look forward to hearing from you. Okay.
All right, George. Tell my boss I missed him tonight.
I will. I sure will. All right, Chris. Thank you.
Mike Peterson to talk about Hattiesburg.
Hattiesburg, yes. We've given the Hattiesburg score, but it's been a while. Mike, tell us how your ball game went tonight.
Won tonight by a final score of 42-21. It was 21-21 at halftime. Defensively, we just didn't seem to show up the first half, but in the second half, we battened down the hatches, probably held George County to less than 100 yards of total offense in the second half. Got 2 touchdowns apiece from Tristan Keys, Davian Young, and Hayden Leverett, and sets up a huge division matchup next week with West Jones back here at D.I. Patrick Stadium.
Well, I mean, and I know you've had some ball games. It seemed like you've had so many Thursday night games, but you played on Friday night tonight. And Hattiesburg, I know they've had some ups and downs through the course of the season, but you've had a good season so far.
We have. After the loss to Oak Grove, we have reeled off 5 straight victories, or more importantly, 3-0 in the region. And like I said, biggest game of the season next week versus West Jones. Ought to be a pretty electric atmosphere at D.I. Patrick Stadium.
Now, West Jones, who did they play tonight?
The Forest Hill. They beat Forest Hill 38-0.
Right. Okay. All right. So, that is a huge ball game. But the Tigers going into this last couple of weeks, you've got some momentum. That's just a huge ball game against West Jones.
It is. Both West Jones is undefeated in the region, Hattiesburg undefeated in the region. So, winner of that one next week will have the inside track to a region championship and home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
All right, Mike. Thanks so much for your report. We look forward to talking to you next Friday night.
All right, guys. Y'all have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Nobody on the phone, but we could sure use some more scores.
Yeah, we sure could. Let's Reed, I'll give you a few, and we'll talk about these. We mentioned this one earlier, and it's worth mentioning again. Lanier won, I believe that's their 9th game of the year, 9-0. They beat Florence tonight, 34-28. Not often we get to talk about a JPS school with an undefeated record this late in the year, but that's where we are.
I think I think it's just good for the state of Mississippi to have our high schools in the capital city be successful in high school football, and so I think that's one of the great stories this year, and we'll see how far they are able to get in the postseason.
Let's see. Let me give you. Well, we talked about this one earlier. Starkville won tonight. They beat Murrah 55-14 at home. Germantown had a huge win over Madison Central. 21-17 was the final there. Let's see. Purvis over Northeast Jones 28-21. Ocean Springs. We haven't talked about this one much, but Ocean Springs, they're now 7-1. They beat West Harrison 55-21. Oxford defeated Clinton 33-23. I can't get over how that game was just a flip of two halves. I mean, Clinton was up 23-7 at the half.
Well, if I remember correctly, Ray told us that the Arrows turned the ball over in the second half. That's kind of what happened to them.
Well, and that's been their problem all year. I mean, defensively, they've been pretty good through most of the season. On offense, they're just really young, and they play really well at times. And there are times when they turn the ball over and they make some silly mistakes. And if you're playing a good team, that's just not going to work.
Well, that's about to say, you do that against the average team, you can probably get away with it one out of two times. You do it against a quality opponent like Oxford, they're going to make you pay pretty much every time.
Yeah, and everybody they play is a good team. There's no doubt about that. Raleigh beat Seminary 27-21. Lake Cormorant over Saltillo 41-7 was the final there. Brookhaven's having a really good year. They had a big win tonight at home, beating South Jones 42-29. That one's worth mentioning for sure. Cleveland Central defeated Vicksburg 34-10. Vicksburg's actually having a pretty good season. They're now 5-3 with that loss, but they're having a good year. Have not mentioned probably the best team in the state, and that's West Point. Mm-hmm. And West Point, they beat Caledonia tonight. On the road, but won 51-7. But West Point's just good. I mean, they're always good. But and they're one of those teams that they just consistently play a power game.
Yeah, I think the podcast that Jared Schatz and Brandon Davis and a couple of the guys do, they did an episode a while back, and they ranked like all time best teams.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it was West Point, Louisville, and I can't remember.
I don't remember who's
after that, but I think it was those two at the top.
Yeah.
You can count on you can count on the
and I think there was some argument amongst the faithful about who was one, who was number two, but go figure.
Can I stop you guys for a second?
I guess so.
Because you just talked about, was it Louisville?
Yeah.
Is that where the coach died?
I have no idea.
I don't think so. I'm not.
Because one of the
I know
coaches from up there,
about.
because Dr. Dave actually put the interview from several years ago that Russ had done, and I thought we were in Louisville, but I just thought I'd ask.
Okay. Well,
somebody may call me and correct me.
I can look that up, but I don't recall off the top of my head. I sure don't.
No, one of the scores that I wanted to mention while we just have a minute, we talked about the Pearl score, 21-14 over Petal, and that means Pearl and Brandon next Friday night for the Rankin County Super Bowl, and that is a game where I think the Pirates got to be looking at, hey, this is our chance to break through, break that losing streak to Brandon that's going through some really tough times right now.
And you know how funny this season, if you said that 5 or 6 weeks ago, that would have not made any sense at all.
Not at all.
Because Brandon was getting off to a great start and Pearl wasn't, and just you don't know. All right, so we have reached the bottom of this half hour. We've got the Crazy 8 reports with J.C. Fox coming up next. But we will remind you that support for Friday Night Under the Lights comes from Cricket Wireless. Phones, plans, and coverage information can be found on their website, which is cricketwireless.com. We'll be back with more Friday Night Under the Lights in just a moment.
Mississippi football families, have you thought about how you're going to tackle student loan debt? Don't do it on your own. Pass the ball to State Treasurer David McRae and his College Savings Mississippi team today. With College Savings Mississippi, you can lock in today's tuition rate, prepay college, and avoid student loan debt altogether. Don't let your finances get sacked because you didn't invest in your child's education. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more today.
At Mississippi Public Broadcasting, we tell local stories that matter. Educational and entertaining television, radio, news, and podcasts. We have something for everyone. So tune in and enjoy all we have to offer. Every day, MPB. Your stories, our mission.
Commercial roofing, reliable and durable solutions for your business. Residential roofing, protecting your home with quality craftsmanship. Metal walls, custom designs for a modern look. Emergency services, rapid response to protect your property.
After a recent hailstorm, I needed a total roof replacement. I chose Malone Roofing for the job, and my new roof looks great.
Contact us today for a free inspection. Visit www.ecmalone.com or call 1-833-7-MALONE.
This is MPB Think Radio.
And welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights. George Broadstreet along with Reed Vance and others. J.C. Fox about to give us our Crazy 8 reports. I want to clarify, the coach we were talking about that passed away a couple of weeks ago now is M.C. Miller, and he was a coach at Louisville some years back, and I think maybe retired, but he did pass away. But he had a very an outstanding record and one of the historic, legendary coaches in Mississippi. So just wanted to clarify that. Reed, take it away.
Got J.C. Fox in the studio with us now, and J.C.'s here with our 8-man football report. And what you got for us? Where were you tonight, first of all?
Tonight I was at Prentice Christian
Prentice Christian.
School.
Okay.
That was down south.
Down south Mississippi. So who was Prentice Christian playing tonight?
Prentice Christian was playing Silva Bay. And if the listeners remember, my first game of the year this year was Benton and Silva Bay. So at that game, we sat down with Micah Odom afterwards, and Micah had 3 touchdowns tonight as he led Silva Bay over Prentice Christian by a score of 46-14.
46-14, okay.
So very good rushing attack from Silva Bay. They struggled to get the ball going through the air, but rushing offense great throughout the whole game. By the time I got to the game, the first quarter was just about over. The score was 14-0. Prentice Christian had already thrown 2 pick-sixes.
Wow.
Because if you think about 8v8 football played on the regular size field, you throw it up in one-on-one coverage, there's no one else over there, less people to cover the field.
That's a good point. I've never thought about that, but I would think that a lot of 8-man football, you get a lot of high-scoring games because of that.
Yes.
Does that follow?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was a good game between those two schools, an old rivalry, I've been told. And after the game, I was able to have a conversation with Tony Ainsworth, who's the coach over at Silva Bay, as well as one of his star seniors, Levi West.
Okay, I think we've got that conversation queued up.
I'm here with Coach Ainsworth and with player Levi West from Silva Bay. Coach, let's start with you. A big win tonight for you guys. How do you feel going into the postseason and your season off with a win?
We're not satisfied. We're going to get better. We'll be better next week.
A whole load of seniors on this roster for you. What have those guys meant as experienced players on the field and as leaders for you on this team this year?
It's their team. It's not my team. What the team does, it belongs to these seniors.
Levi, you had a good game tonight. I feel like every time Prentice ran the ball, you were called on the tackle. Not too many receiving yards tonight, but I know you've had a lot of those this year. How do you think that you guys played tonight?
We played great, man. I'm glad defensive line came up and stepped up and helped us linebackers out a lot, and I couldn't do it without them.
What would your message be to your teammates as you go in the playoffs here?
Let's play to our potential and not be satisfied.
Thank you, guys. Good luck in the playoffs.
Thank you.
All right, so JC, you went down to Prentice tonight. So for Prentice, who won the football game, what does that mean for them in terms of playoffs? Because, playoffs for the MAIS start next Friday night, right?
For the 8-man.
For the 8-man, that's right.
For the 8-man, because 12 teams make the playoffs.
Right.
For their 2 divisions in 8-man. So if we look at, there were some really important games tonight. Humphreys defeated Benton by a score 50-22. Newton was able to defeat Bensford 44-14. River Oaks beat Claiborne 68-28. And Claiborne kind of got the short end of the stick in their little region, if you will, because all 3 of those schools coming into the final 2 weeks of the season were undefeated.
Wow.
So River Oaks comes out of that region undefeated. Claiborne takes the 2 losses. So that's interesting. There's some other scores. WCCA stays undefeated. They beat Tensas 36-0. Union able to get their first win of the year over Riverdale 56-36. And then the game I was at, Silva Bay defeats PCS 46-14.
Okay.
So when we look at the playoffs in that first division, River Oaks goes 8-0. They are the only undefeated team. They'll get the first seed in that division. Humphreys, Newton, and Deer Creek, the other 3 region winners. So all 4 of those schools a bye in the upcoming week. So they will play their first playoff game in round 2 of the playoffs.
2 weeks.
So the other matchups for the playoffs, from what I've calculated on the playoff points, the official bracket has not been released yet, but Prairie View will take on Delta Streets. Claiborne will take on Prentice. Benton will take on Porter's Chapel. And Silva Bay will take on Bensford.
It just seems a little weird that we're going to be doing playoff football on Halloween night, but that's the way the calendar falls this year. So you all in covering 8-man football for Friday Night Under the Lights this year, you've been to where? Where are the different towns? Because I'll give our listeners a little bit of inside information. JC is one of our sports media majors at Mississippi College. He is the voice of the Lady Choctaws our women's soccer program there. Does a fantastic job. You're from Michigan.
Yes.
So you now coming down from Michigan to Clinton to go to college, and you're going to all these wonderful small towns in Mississippi. Where all have you gone, and what all have you maybe learned in going to some of these places? I'm just curious.
Week 1 was Benton Academy.
Yep.
Week 2 was Tallulah. That one was just across the river in Louisiana. Then I was at Christ Covenant, just down the road, yes. And then last week I was not in. And then this week I was down in Prentice.
Okay.
So very interesting. Tonight was maybe the best attended game I was at. It was a pretty good crowd on hand. I was told it was senior night for Prentice, but so far the crowds have been great, the people have been great, and tonight the Silva Bay fans, they obviously knew who I was from a previous game.
Your reputation has preceded you.
I had multiple parents come up to me during the game and say hi.
That's good.
Ask how I was doing, and then after the game, there were probably 7 or 8 players who came up, shook my hand, and thanked me for the work I'm doing with 8-man. So
well, and that's the point, right?
It means a lot to
it absolutely
to the
means a lot,
players.
and so that's why we're grateful you're able to go and do that, and you see what it means to these small communities who have the smaller schools that can only that they field 8-man football teams. Coming from Michigan, how do you compare Mississippi high school football with Michigan high school?
Oh, it's a whole different world. On my way to Prentice, actually, I was flipping through radio stations, and just about every other of the FM radio stations had high school football on. I don't think you can find that in Michigan.
Really?
It's maybe a couple schools broadcast on the radio, but every other radio station on FM had high school football on.
Yeah.
I've never really talked to you about this, but what size town do you come from Michigan? What town are you from?
I come from a pretty big town, Rochester, Michigan. So if the listeners follow Ole Miss football, Caden Prescorn, the tight end for the Rebels last year, he's from Rochester.
Okay.
And we have 3 high schools in the town who would all be equivalent to a Class 7 in Mississippi.
Okay.
So they would actually probably be bigger than most of the Class 7 schools. So they're 3 pretty big high schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you show up to those schools, they're not going to know who you are.
Oh, no,
in Mississippi,
no.
they'll know who you are and treat you well.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there? So we don't know where you're going next week, right? Just kind of depends. You're waiting on the bat signal from Russ to tell you where to go.
Yes.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens. I'm hoping to. We haven't covered this yet. Division II playoffs.
Sure. Go ahead.
Maybe make it to one of those. WCCA and Columbus, both undefeated. WCCA gets the 1 seed. They had 22 playoff points, by far the most in the 8 football. Briarfield and DeSoto also winning their region districts. They will get byes, and then Lee will play Franklin. Tallulah will play Heritage. Tunica, Tensas. Calhoun will play Marvel. And when we look at the 7 and 8 rather, Tunica and Calhoun. Tunica had 12.667 playoff points. Calhoun had 12.6. So very, very close between the 7 and 8 there.
It's a rounding error.
It is. We were saying in the first hour that we needed an additional staff member. We needed a bracketologist. JC, I anoint you the official bracketologist from here on out of Friday Night Under the Lights. The pay increase should be reflected in your next paycheck from Russ, because this is sorely needed. Somebody to sort the PowerPoints out in the MAIS. But that's really great clarity. The way you presented it gives us great clarity about what's going to happen in the playoffs. Because for the average, I think, person who's following, it's a bit confusing for sure.
It's crazy. You look at some of these schools who make the playoffs in 8v8, where most of the schools do make the playoffs, but some of them have records of 3-7, 2-6, and they are rewarded for playing some of the powerhouses in 8-man football. Because if it comes down to wins and losses, why would you play tough teams outside of your district region? You'd play the easiest schools you can get your hands on. So by rewarding schools for playing tough competition, and then we'll see how that translates when it comes to the playoffs. How do the schools who played really tough competition face up against slightly easier competition when they've already gone through those trials in the regular season?
Sounds a lot like college football, doesn't it?
A little bit.
Beat up on cupcakes a little bit, and then you wonder why you struggle later on.
Yeah. Well, anything else you can add for this week in Crazy 8 football?
Well, I mean, we're just excited for the playoffs to get started next week and see what happens. It'll be a very quick 4 weeks for the playoffs, as those championship games will be happening the week before Thanksgiving. I believe it's a Wednesday afternoon and a Friday morning are the championship games.
And those are at Jackson Academy,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay. All right.
JC, thanks for your time. And by the way, great job. Mentioned he does soccer. He called 2 soccer games this afternoon at Mississippi College, and he's going to call 2 more on Sunday.
Yeah, and I mean, I used to stick with just football, baseball, and basketball because I don't know anything about soccer. I don't know enough about soccer. I know what a goal is, but I mean, beyond
he
that,
does a great job.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your report. Appreciate it.
Thanks, JC.
All right. Well, we're about to enter that last quarter hour, and we'll remind you that support for Friday Night Under the Lights as well as Crazy Eights comes from Cricket Wireless. Phones, plans, and coverage can be found at their website, which is cricketwireless.com. We'll be back with that last quarter hour in just a moment.
See your name and file your claim. Even the smallest counties in Mississippi usually have thousands of people whose names are on the unclaimed money list at the Mississippi State Treasury. That's right. Many counties even have tens of thousands of names listed, totaling tens of millions in unclaimed dollars. Since he's been state treasurer, David McRae has returned a record $80 million to Mississippians who've searched the list, found their names, and staked their claim. About 1 in 10 Mississippians have unclaimed money, and that's why you should check www.treasury.ms.gov or click on Unclaimed Money and search today. If you see your name, file your claim. If it's your money, Treasurer David McRae will get it back to you.
Commercial roofing, reliable and durable solutions for your business. Residential roofing, protecting your home with quality craftsmanship. Metal walls, custom designs for a modern look. Emergency services, rapid response to protect your property.
After a recent hailstorm, I needed a total roof replacement. I chose Malone Roofing for the job, and my new roof looks great.
Contact us today for a free inspection. Visit www.ecmalone.com or call 1-833-7-MALONE.
And welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights. George Broadstreet, Reed Vance with you for just the next 15 minutes or so. And we normally wrap up the show with a conversation with football guru Brandon Shields. And I believe Brandon's on the phone.
There he is.
Yeah, Brandon, tell us which ball game you went to see tonight.
I was at Oxford Clinton.
Okay. That was a weird game, was it not?
It had its moments. Clinton, it was a tale of two halves. Clinton dominated the first half and then decided to shoot themselves in the foot and turn the ball over 3 times and give Oxford momentum, and Oxford came away with a win. And that was that. That was the game, literally.
Yeah. Well, Oxford, Oxford has just, they've played themselves into a pretty good position.
Right. A lot of people know how to do all these playoff scenarios beginning this weekend with 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A. So, and me and Cutcliffe were talking after the game since Germantown beat Madison tonight. Which Oxford plays Murrah next. They're actually playing Thursday next week. If Starkville beats Madison, Oxford, who's now 3-0 in Region 278, they'll wrap up the 1 seed if they beat Murrah and Starkville beats Madison next week.
Well, now, I know tonight, Knox Kiffin played for Oxford, and obviously he's a 10th grader. Is Oxford's number one quarterback, was he injured?
Yeah, he's in concussion. He had a suffered a concussion last week in the second half against Germantown, and so that's when Knox obviously had to come in and led them to a comeback win last week, and did the same thing tonight. Tonight, it was just Clinton's defense was getting after him in the first half. He was sacked, I think, 3 times in the first half, once on a 4th down play at midfield. And then through an interception, with about 3 minutes to go in the first half, and Clinton came away with a last-second field goal to extend their lead at halftime.
Yeah.
So that was obviously they turned it around in the second half, but in the first half they were struggling on both sides of the ball. Clinton was absolutely dominating the line of scrimmage. So, you have to play for 48 minutes, and for about 30 minutes, Clinton held their own. They were doing fine. So,
Brandon, you mentioned a minute ago that you're going to be doing some playoff scenarios here in the next day or two, and we all know that momentum plays a big role when you're getting ready to go to the postseason. Of the teams that you kind of follow and keep tabs on, what are some of the schools that kind of have some forward momentum as they look to these last couple of regular season games and look to make the playoffs?
Especially next week with it being the last regular season games for 4A, for the lower classes in the MHSAA, so 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A. Some districts almost, I like Winona in 3A. Back-to-back wins over Noxubee and Choctaw County. They have back-to-back wins over Noxubee County and Choctaw County in Region 4, 3A. I really like how they're playing right now. They're going to play themselves into the 1 seed, it looks like, as long as they can beat Aberdeen next week. Excuse me, they've actually already beaten that. They've already played Aberdeen, actually. All you got to do is just win next week against Nettleton, I think, and that's it. So, I really like Winona in Region 4 3A, Region 5 3A. You got Union. They wrapped up the 1 seed tonight. They beat St. Andrews. So, then in 4A, Etowah HS, they're the 1 seed out of that region, Region 2 4A. They beat Shannon. That was a big win for them, actually. So, and then Water Valley, Region 2 2A. They clinched the 1 seed tonight with a win over Bruce. So that was big for them.
Hey, let me ask you, a game that we've talked about a lot tonight is Pearl and Petal. I can't, that just doesn't make any sense to me, Pearl winning that game.
Oh, wow. It's Region 3, it's a week-to-week thing. Petal, it was their homecoming. Not giving excuses. Pearl beat them. So, Petal's coming off 2 big wins on the road with Oak Grove and Brandon. I don't want to say they were sleepwalking, but it sounds like they caught them sleepwalking and, feeling like they're getting ahead. They just felt like you got to show up and win. You got to show up and prepare. You got to prepare throughout the week, all that stuff to be ready to play. And obviously, Pearl was more ready to play than they were. I know that's what Marcus Bowles would tell me. If I had to,
Yeah, and that means Pearl's going to play Brandon next week, and that's going to be an interesting battle. I know you've covered high school football for a lot of years in the state, done an excellent job in doing it, and you've covered Brandon a lot over the course of your time here. What sense do you make of their mid-season coaching change?
It happens, but it's just in this scenario. Things were just. Pogue was brutally honest with me, like a lot of coaches are with me. So, people were just like, just things. In all honesty, it just wasn't working out. That's just the bottom line. There's all the a lot of talk, this, that, the other. But bottom line is, things weren't working out. Things weren't falling into place. I guess you should say from the start. Like when things don't go good from the start, which obviously starting 0-1 or 0-2 or whatever it was, and so things kind of went downhill from there. So, I mean, it is what it is. I hate it for Pogue. I mean, talked to him Tuesday. I mean, he was fine and all that stuff. I mean, he loves the coaches, the assistants, loves the players. It's just, I mean,
it just sounds like a match that wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say. No, it seems to me that it sounds like a match that was almost doomed from the start. In a way, that wasn't a good match to begin with.
Yeah, basically the way Pogue is kind of a hard. I mean, he preaches being tough and all that stuff, and I mean, so I mean, that's the style of coaching, and I mean, I'm not there. I'm not at practice every day.
Sure.
I don't know what's going on, and also, so I really. All I can say is, just from my point of view, things just weren't really working out.
Right.
And that's that.
Where are you going to be next week?
Well, got a lot of games Thursday, and then of course the Fridays, and of course Friday nights. We'll be releasing matchups for lower classes. So that's that. I think next Thursday I'll be probably at Choctaw Central in West Lauderdale. And then Friday, got to look at, there's some games, got to look at the schedule where some games, playoff implications that are being played Friday instead of Thursday. So got to look at that and just kind of roll from there. I'll do that here in about an hour or two.
Well, it's going to be an interesting last couple of weeks for sure.
Oh yeah, because some teams, now some teams are in a spot where you need help. Well, you got to win and need help to get in, or a team, hey, you got to win by this amount of points. This is the joy of putting all the scenarios together. See, in a team, you have to win by a certain amount of points. You're either, this has happened in the past. You're hosting a playoff game, you're on the road in the playoff game, or heck, you're out. Or your season's over. So this is that fun time of year.
Yeah.
It kind of, it sucks having to tell a coach. I've had to do this 2 years in a row, and I hope I don't have to do this next week or the next 2 weeks. Having to tell a coach, hey man, you didn't make the playoffs because you lost.
Yeah.
Or this happened, so it's part of it.
Yeah. Brandon, thanks so much. We got to go. Thanks so much for calling in again tonight. Good work as usual.
Yes, sir, thanks.
All right. Well, Reed, we're closing it out here. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Fun as always, George. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Russ will be back with us next week. He's the star of the show, and you've worked out an arrangement where he's going to have to pay J.C. Moore.
That's exactly right.
he's our certified bracketologist. Anyway, for Ty Bailey, who worked the phones, Chris Saxon, our studio engineer, Reed Vance, J.C. Fox, who gave us our Crazy 8 report. I'm George Broadstreet. We'll be back next Friday night with more Friday Night Under the Lights.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more. 1 in 10 Mississippians has unclaimed money awaiting claim at the state treasury. There's literally hundreds of millions of dollars waiting to be united with the rightful owner. At www.treasury.ms.gov to search. You'll see your name and stake your claim by following these instructions. You'll be asked for some basic ID like a copy of your license or a government-issued ID, then hit send. Treasurer David McRae has a dedicated unclaimed money team awaiting your claim, ready to return your money. Don't wait. Look for your name and stake your claim today. www.treasury.ms.gov.
Trusted by homeowners and businesses across the Southeast. Commercial roofing, reliable and durable solutions for your business. Residential roofing, protecting your home with quality craftsmanship. Metal walls, custom designs for a modern look. Emergency services, rapid response to protect your property.
After a recent hailstorm, I needed a total roof replacement. I chose Malone Roofing for the job. They delivered top-notch service, and my new roof looks great.
We started looking for roofers when we realized that we had leaks throughout our facilities in our district. What stood out to me about Malone Roofing was great customer service, a fine finished project, and great following. I would definitely work with Malone Roofing again.
My project was a little more complicated than just needing a new roof. I decided that Malone would be who we needed to work with, that would do the best job for us. My experience working with Malone was wonderful.
Contact us today for a free inspection. Visit www.ecmalone.com or call 1-833-7-MALONE.